Hi everyone, this is Bobby from bn-games.com, and today's video has been a year long in the making. Today we are going to take a look at the Namco System 256. I bought this 256 just before the pandemic started and intended to make this video all about the basics of the board, but as I was filming an unboxing and powering it on for the first time, I ran into immediate issues that put a hold on everything. Before we get into more of that, let's talk about the system itself. The Namco 256 is basically a stripped-down PlayStation 2 that is very limited in the number of games it can play. It's using PlayStation 2 architecture. You can't just pop in PlayStation 2 discs into the system. They have to be specifically formatted to work with this board. What's more, there are many variations of the Namco system. For example, there is the System 246, which I understand is a slightly less capable version of the system and came out before the 256, and then there are variants between the 246 and 256 systems, depending on what arcade game they shipped in or with. On top of that, the System 256 can play most 246 games, but there's some compatibility issues there, so your mileage may vary. My particular board is fairly bare bones with the built-in Ethernet jack and memory card reader. Namco system games come in two flavors, DVD disc variants and hard drive variants, and both require the correct memory card with the decryption key to be inserted into memory card slot 1 for the games to boot. This arcade lot came with several DVD-based Gundam games and one hard drive-based Gundam game. The Namco system requires this external JAMA PCB kit to connect video, audio, and controls through your cabinet's JAMA harness. This PCB kit also came with the kick harness for buttons 4, 5, and 6, but I had to wire those into my cabinet separately. As you can see, the system is a fairly small metal box with the VGA and audio ports in the front that connect to the JAMA PCB that I just showed. The jumpers are located on the bottom right-hand corner, as you can see as well. This is important because the system came shipped in test mode, and I couldn't figure out initially why the game wouldn't boot. It kept going back to the system's internal BIOS. I eventually noticed it was turned on after looking up a jumper schematic. Before installing the system in your cabinet, you must first connect your VGA, audio, and data cable from the system to the JAMA PCB itself. You could do this while in the cabinet, but I do not have a lot of room in my cab, so it's easier to install it pre-wired together. The data cable connects to the side of the box, whereas the video and audio plug directly into the front of the system. Now at this point, I was planning on installing the box into my Adams Wave cabinet, which can display 31 kHz, but this is where I ran into some issues. After powering on the system for the first time, I found that the DVD ROM drive would not open, or not very easily. I suspect it was damaged in shipping as it had come from Japan. I could not get any of the DVD-based games to load even after getting the drive open, so I moved on to installing the hard drive-based game to see if the system itself was working. Hard drive-based games require you open the case of the system, unscrew and remove the DVD drive, and then replace it with the hard drive containing the game you want to play. In this case, we are installing Gundam Cross Gundam Next, which was the last update to this particular Gundam game series before it turned into the Gundam Versus series. This is actually the game I wanted the Namco 256 for, particularly that and Soul Calibur 2, which I don't currently have yet, but am looking to purchase at some point. I ended up contacting the seller after installing the hard drive because I ran into another issue. The memory card for the hard drive-based game wasn't working either. I was getting a different boot error, and after doing enough research, it seems that Namco system memory cards are easily corrupted or fail to boot very often. There's even a project on the Arcade Project forums, or rather something you can purchase that allows you to get around this. But the seller eventually sent me another DVD ROM drive and another copy of the game with a new memory card, and that actually worked. I had actually stopped filming at this point because after reassembling the system and it failing to boot the game, it took months and months to receive the replacements I had talked about. This was primarily due to COVID and limited shipping being available from Japan. As you can see here, we got the system back into the test mode, and to make sure there were no power issues, I plugged in a separate power supply into the JAMA PCB for solid power, and as you can see, the game eventually booted up and was playable. Okay, so you may have caught that I said was playable. The problem is, this particular cabinet's monitor is on the fritz. Now, it's working right now, it's booting right now, but I guarantee you, after about 5 minutes, it'll start scrambling the screen. There's something wrong with the caps, and I'm going to have to take the board out and probably have it serviced. It's playing right now, it played a little while ago, and I can't determine when it starts messing up. It seems to be random. You know, I had it on once for 4 or 5 hours with no problem, and even earlier today as I'm editing this video, it only lasted about 10 minutes, and I think that's maybe after it heated up. I can't say for sure, but the game itself works. It's just the cabinet for the second time in 5 years is, well, let's say the monitor on this particular cabinet for the second time in 5 years is being a pain in the ass and causing problems. So we're going to end it here for now. I eventually do plan on doing a video of this particular game using the NAX Splitfire to record the game itself and show what the game looks like and how it plays and that sort of thing. And I'm going to try to do that maybe even if the monitor holds up for a little while before I pull the chassis out and get this particular cabinet fixed, which will be its own separate video. So for now, that's the Namco 256. It's cursed. But I do like this game a lot. This particular one, this Gundam versus Gundam Next, or Gundam Cross Gundam Next. And hope to have that more on the channel soon. So if you have any questions, please put them below, and please subscribe and let me know what you think. Thank you.